Yes, I would like to introduce Abdurrahman. He's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management of Jubaland State. Honorable Abdurrahman Abdi Ahmed, welcome. It's great privilege to have you on board today and taking the time to join us. Abdurrahman has been before former Director General, Ministry of Interior, Federal Affairs and Reconciliation of Jubaland State, as well former Director General, Ministry of Youth and Sports, the same Jubaland State. Honorable Abdurrahman is very advocate for asylum seekers and refugees at the Office of the Commissioner for Refugees, Ministry of Home Affairs and Zambia, and he's also pioneer of public service. Honorable Abdurrahman, welcome. The floor is you.
Thank you very much, Jawahir. First and foremost, representative from Global Somali Diaspora, Denmark, DRC, UN OCHA, and other international partners present in this virtual summit. Good afternoon. It's an extraordinary privilege for me to address this virtual summit on diaspora drought response, which is a joint initiative between Global Somali Diaspora, Denmark, and DRC. In this opportunity, I would like to acknowledge the effort of the Global Somali Diaspora, Denmark, and DRC to lead this great initiative with an aim to reach out to Somali diaspora with information and witness statements about the devastated drought situation in the country, as well as to offer participants a venue for sharing information about existing initiatives on the ground that deliver life-saving support to those most in need. Ladies and gentlemen, since the fall of the central government of Somalia, the diaspora has been a pivotal stakeholder in sustaining the livelihoods of the Somali people who have been facing various challenges such as climate change, conflicts, and recurring disasters, which resulted in crippling humanitarian crisis. Therefore, the role of diaspora in contributing our people's economy and livelihood support through remittance, humanitarian assistance, and participation in peace building, recovery, and reconstruction efforts cannot be overemphasized. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to brief you on the dire humanitarian situation the Jubaland state is facing, which requires urgent humanitarian assistance so as to save lives, alleviate suffering, and maintain human dignity. Jubaland state is among the most affected states in the country, with more than 600,000 people currently displaced in the IDP settlements across 3 regions of Gedo, Middle Juba, and Lower Juba. Immediate response and drought mitigation measures have been severely hindered due to lack of accessibility to large swaths of land in the region, compounded the already worsening situation. Years of conflict have caused prolonged suffering in Jubaland. Now the state and the country, by extension, faces its worst drought in 30 years, creating unprecedented level of need. While emergency response is necessary, it is not enough to meet the totality of needs in Jubaland. The economy, basic institution of the state, and essential service delivery must be preserved to curb the worsening food insecurity and a breakdown in the social fabric. More than 1 million people in the state need urgent humanitarian assistance to survive. Needs are far higher than the last year, and acute hunger is a daily reality for the half of the population. Basic health, clean and safe drinking water, shelter, education, and other services are severely strained. Livelihood have been deteriorated, and households are spending over 80% of their meager income on food. Crises are forcing record numbers to flee their homes, seeking safety in or around major towns. The increasingly complex and unpredictable nature of crisis is resulting in a growing number of protracted displacement situations. The year 2021 and 2022 have been the worst in Jubaland. Short rains have failed, resulting in shortage of food and water. The expected long rains have just started, but not that promising. The population have lost livelihoods, and therefore they need alternative recovery for the livelihood. The government of Jubaland, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, have been promoting sustainable solutions for the recurring disasters, mainly drought and floods, which are the biggest disasters in Somalia. However, these disasters have been recurring for so many years, reversing the gains made in development. This can be done better through collaboration by both the government and non-state actors, including the diaspora and the private sector. In this regard, we propose the following long-term interventions. 1. Construction of strategic mega dams in key drought-affected areas. 2. Establishing water harvesting and storage facilities. 3. Construction of gabions along the river banks to prevent overflooding during the rainy season. 4. Crowdfunding mechanism that brings together the government, private sector, and diaspora to enhance engagement and participation. 5. Food security through establishing a strategic food reserve for Jubaland to mitigate against extreme hunger during disasters. As we are committed to making sure all actors, including our diaspora community, have a conducive environment for all the responses activity during this difficult time, we appeal to our Somali diaspora to actively participate and stand in solidarity with the people of Jubaland, who have already been through far too much. Finally, on behalf of Jubaland, I would like to express our sincere appreciation and gratitude to the diaspora community, international organizations, and donors for their continued support to our vulnerable community at this hard time of our history. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abdurrahman, Ministry for Humanitarian and Disaster Management to Jubaland, for that insightful background in terms of the situation in Jubaland state and how people are suffering. Thank you very much again for joining us, Minister Abdurrahman. If you are staying with us, it would be great for later question and answers. We have the discussions